The Cavite Mutiny was an uprising that killed the life of three martyrs, the Gumbursa, instigating nationalism in the hearts of thousands of other Filipinos, and in fact, even our national hero, Josepe Rizal, dedicated his book, El Filibusterismo, and you might want to check it out, El Filibusterismo, to the life of these three martyrs, in expense of the injustice that cost their lives on February 17, 1872. Basically, what happened was around 200 locally recruited troops and laborers rose up in an attempt to encourage a national uprising. The situation everyone was living in under the Spanish colonization was bad enough that it made everyone desperate to fight back, but unfortunately, they were unsuccessful.
Estúpida! No puedes hacer bien tu trabajo. ¡Tú!
Maski kahit ano wala naman ng aming mga tiyan, senyor.
Otro estúpido! Día de pago.
Ano to pagkatapos ng paghihirap natin ng ilang araw?
Di mo ba narinig ang sabay mo simula ngayon, sisingin na daw tayo ng karapatang pulis.
Kasama na rin kamo ang Falya. Tagal na nating liban sa patakaran ko. Bakit ngayon pa?
Para sa ko kasi natin ang pamamalakad.
At bakit hindi? Alam niyo bang mas malaking nakukuha ng mga peninsular? Hindi ito katanggap-tanggap. Hanggang kailan nila aalilain? Kailangan natin kumilos.
Kung gayon, mamaya, pagsapit ng dilim. It is widely believed that the primary cause of the mutiny was that on January 20, 1872, when the laborers received their pay, and they realized that the taxes and the filas were deducted from their salaries.
Actually, there had been many reasons linking to the event. But General Escudero, the general at that time, extracting personal taxes on Filipino laborers in engineering and artillery in Cavite, and required them to subject to forced labor. It had been the last straw. They were all mistreated and discriminated by the Spanish soldiers. As a result, they mutinied at the same night.
Sargento!
Ito po yung binigay sa amin.
Hindi ito maaari. Mamayang gabi, mag-aalsa tayo.
Tama! Tama!
Ngayong gabi, doon, susugod tayo sa mga Espanyol.
40 infantry soldiers and 20 men from the artillery took over command of the fort of San Felipe and fired cannonades to announce to the world their moment of triumph. It was a short-lived victory.
Apparently, or so they said, those who joined the mutiny were expected to be joined by another infantry company. But this company attacked them and they were betrayed.
The Cavite rebels expected help from Manila. But multiple accounts say that they had actually mistaken for a prearranged signal for the uprising from Manila. What turned out to be a burst of rockets in celebration of a feast in Sampalo. Help did not come. And that was when everything went downhill.
It hadn't been long for Izquierdo to take action when he was informed of what was happening. The mutineers, outnumbered, outarmed, and ill-prepared, began surrendering their fort.
Naturally, people in charge had to blame someone for what happened. And so, Filipino soldiers were disarmed and were sent into an exile in the southern island of Mindanao. And those who were suspected of supporting the mutiny were arrested and eventually executed.
The execution of the three Filipino priests for something nobody believed they had anything to do with, and with different accounts stating that there was no direct evidence to confirm their crime, stirred a great sense of sympathy and revulsion among the Filipinos against the cruel rulers who would drop the axe to anyone who would go against them. We, however, recognize two accounts as to what happened behind the historical event. It is important as this event is the major factor in the stirring of the nationalism in the Filipinos in the old days and the many more years to come.
A prolific Spanish historian, documented the event, and he described it as the attempt of the Indios to overthrow the Spanish government in the Philippines. General Rafael Izquierdo's official report magnified this event, and he complimented Vidal's accounts, stressing that the rebels, the Cavite Mutineers, and other people behind it wanted to overthrow the Spanish in the Philippines so that they can install a new leader in the name of the fathers Burgos and Zamora.
Statements that the two would conspire and support the rebels in secret hideouts to plan their attack further put their names as enemies of the government. The Spanish claims that the priest convinced the Filipinos that God support them in their efforts to overthrow officials.
Ngunit, paano kung hindi kami magtagumpay?
Hindi kayo mabibigo. Nasa inyo ang biyaya ng Diyos. Hindi ba't kaya kami narito para ilapit kayo sa Kanya? Dala nyo ang suporta ng Diyos. Di ba mga padre?
Oo, mga padre. Panahon na upang itigil nila ang kahangalan nila, di ba?
Tama po, Padre. Tamang-tama po.
The Filipino version
Mahina. 1, 2, 3, go.
The Filipino version of the story talks about more the response to the injustice they are facing. Dr. Trinidad Hermenegildo Pardo de Tavera, a Filipino scholar and researcher, stated that the incident was a mere mutiny of native Filipino soldiers and laborers in Cavite Arsenal, who turned out to be dissatisfied and wanted to act according to their advantage. In a way, he also stated that Escudero believed only his policies as a cover-up of an organization of a political club, and that the same policies are the real roots of the bloody incident.
1, 2, 3, go.
Dumating po mula sa inuupo na natin sa mga mula isa ni sinahabi ko parihan at lumamalaman ng sa bansa, hindi rin sa mga paaralan.
Absurdo! Kung ganun, ano lamang ang mangyayari sa atin? Hindi maaari.
Moreover, Tavera believed that the Spanish friars and Escudero used the Cavite Mutiny and presented it to the Spanish government. As a conspiracy spread throughout the archipelago, when it is in fact a mere uprising in a specific place. In fear that the power and influence they hold against the Indians may be forgotten, like the central government back in their home, which is Madrid, chose to deprive the friars in all powers of intervention in civil government and educational institutions.
Father Gomez, Father Burgos, and Father Zamora were active in the fight for the secularization of the clergy, were creating trouble for Governor Izquierdo and the powerful religious orders in the country. Father Burgos, last to be executed of the three, was a parish priest of the Manila Cathedral and was 35 years old at that time. He was active and outspoken in advocating Philippinization of the clergy. Father Zamora, 37, was also Spanish but Manila born, died second and gone mad. He was the parish priest of Marikina and was known to be unfriendly to arrogance and authoritativeness of the Spanish borns. And lastly, Father Gomez was an old man in his mid-70s, Chinese Filipino, and held the most senior proposition of the three as Archbishop's vicar in Cavite. He was truly nationalistic and accepted the death penalty calmly. He died first of the three.
Whether the three clergy had been truly involved in the uprising will probably remain one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in the Filipinos' fight for freedom. However, considering the two sides from the different accounts of the 1872 mutiny, there were some basic facts that proved to be verifying. First, there was dissatisfaction among the Filipino workers. Second, General Izquierdo facilitated strict and cruel policies that made Filipinos turn away from the government. Third, the central government failed to conduct an investigation on the truth behind the mutiny and focus on reports to arrive on speculations. Fourth, the power of the friars at the time were threatened. Fifth, the Filipinos had been active in acting against and what they deem as injustices. Lastly, the execution of Gomburza was a blunder of the Spanish government and was done partly in expectation to end the hopes of Filipinos in winning against the friars, but has stated a fire of nationalism in the hearts of the Filipinos instead. Lastly, the execution of Gomburza was a blunder of the Spanish government and was done partly in expectation to end the hopes of Filipinos in winning against the friars, but has started a fire of nationalism in the hearts of Filipinos instead. There may be different versions of the story, but surely this event in 1872 has paved way for a marvelous 1898.
Estúpida! No puede! Lang.
Hindi kayo mabibigo. Nasa inyo ang kanyang biyaya. Hindi ba't kaya kami narito para ilapit kayo sa kanya? Nasa inyo ang kanyang suporta.
Kung gayon, mamaya, pagsapit ng dilim.
Galit ko naman galit. gabi. Susugod tayo.
Instigating? Oh my gosh!